Hello, Diane and Erica and Jacob, and I have their information up here on the screen so you can see a little bit about who they are. So we have Erica, who is the Director of Talent Acquisition at Quest. We have Diane Smith, who's with the Florida Dairy Farmers. We have Jacob Ruiz, who is a retired Major and Director of Media and Public Relations for Osceola County Sheriff's Office. So without further ado, I'm going to have some questions here to ask them for you guys. And I'll ask the first questions. I'll just ask them to introduce themselves, talk a little bit about why you guys chose Crummer to pursue your business degree. So maybe we'll start with Diane, since she's first here on my screen.
Sure. Well, I had worked at the Orlando Sentinel for many years, and it was always my dream to have an MBA. But one of the things I wanted to do always is I wanted to grow in my career and in my role. And I've always liked the person that I like to look at the big picture, to truly understand what is going on, not just in my role, but with the overall company. Or in the industry as well. So I thought that, having an MBA, especially with Crummer, with the global vision and the strong network connections, it would be the perfect place for me. So I waited. Literally, I debated over 5 years to go ahead and sign on. And once I did, I was just so relieved and just so, excited. And said, why didn't I do this, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? So I think there's always been something that I've always, remembered. It's like, if you're just thinking about it, just go ahead and do it, because it'll be over and be done, sooner than what you think.
Thank you. Erica?
Well, good morning, everyone. So again, my name is Erica Novak. I'm currently the Director of Talent Acquisition with a company called Quest. We're a nonprofit in the Orlando area. But with that, I've come from a very big background of HR. I've been in the field for about 16 years. And I really pursued the MBA as an opportunity for me to expand my skill set. I was looking more to take my experience in HR, but understand larger pieces of the business from more that 30,000-foot view, but also to really enhance my analytical skills. And with that, I really chose Crummer after several years of doing research and thinking about what's the right program for me, what is the time commitment. And I chose Crummer for a couple different reasons. One of them really being that there really is high touch. This is you're a person, not a number. And so I was really seeking out the program that would allow me to be that individual. But also, again, the in-person component, something different than what we see in digital all the time on Zoom and on WebEx. So I was really looking for that. And one of the other pieces that I really appreciated about this program, and still do, was the amount of diversity that was in my cohort. So I had people coming from different industries, whether it was construction or it was from healthcare, from entertainment. There was such diversity that the learning was really enhanced by that from the rest of my classmates. So in choosing that, it was a great decision for me, and some of the reasons that brought me to Crummer.
Thank you, Erica. Jacob?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. I've spent my whole career, over 20 years, in the law enforcement field, the last 17 here in Osceola County, Central Florida. I found myself going up the ranks, and when I always knew I wanted to go back to graduate school. Being in public service all my life, I was kind of weighing. My first thing was, I'm going to go to law school, and then I thought about an MBA. But then when I started talking to friends of mine, leaders in the community, was obviously my role as not only major, but over community services and public relations. I was well immersed in the community and events and things like that. And as I spoke to leaders, people who had relationships with Crummer and with Rollins, they really suggested that I would be a great fit because of the amount of community engagement and that Rollins and the Crummer Graduate School really take on as far as being part of the Central Florida community, and also the alumni connection I would have afterwards. I had actually started my MBA online with another school, and going through this process, I was speaking to others, and I was totally, I was going through the motions and things like that, but was really not enjoying it. It wasn't really what I thought it would be. And, as I spoke to those leaders who had connections with Rollins, said, the real value of an MBA, it's really, the connections you make with people, with the professors, with your fellow students, with alumni, and the value you get from making those connections and those professional and friendships that you can make. And so it's like you're wasting your time look at Crummer, and that's what I did. And when it totally blew me away. It's exactly what I thought, what I wanted out of a graduate degree. Found out when I joined, I found out that I was, I guess, the first student that comes from a law enforcement profession in the history. So I was pretty proud of that, and it was, I don't regret it one bit. It was an awesome experience, and as you see now today, I want to give back as much as I can by being involved with the school in any way that I can.
Great. Thank you, Jacob. And I won't make any of you recite the mission statement for the school, but you probably all could at this point, because it's not just something we say. Well, we do say it a lot, but it's also something you live in the program. And our mission really is to produce global, responsible, and innovative leaders who impact their organizations and their communities. And so I'm wondering from each of you, what part of that mission statement really resonated with you while you were in the program and afterwards? And I'm going to mix it up to keep you all on your feet. So I'm going to start with Erica this time.
Great. Well, thanks, Craig. You know, when I think about the mission statement and those three different aspects, for me, all three really meld together, because when we're thinking about the global piece and when you're thinking about really the responsible leader piece, there's so much that really melds together. So I would find in classes, professors would talk the global piece, but we're also talking how innovation plays into that and how, right, we have to be responsible leaders across, right, those global enterprises. And so really when thinking about each individual one, I feel like we really had a good meld of all of them all together. And it was great because you could see that across the curriculum, but also across the faculty. They all were trying to show us, here are what great global leaders who are innovative are doing at a local and an international level. So for me, it really melded well, but it was also something that you could see very clearly throughout the curriculum.
I'll go to Jacob next.
Similar, like obviously every aspect of that mission statement resonates and was valuable and important to me. But especially me, who being local law enforcement, I always felt a little bit kind of just not segregated, but I guess really just committed to my space of responsibility, which whether it's the county or the city and things like that. And so, and really very immersed in the work of policing itself and public safety. And so I felt that that mission statement and the goal of the school, where I could grow from and learn from and probably expand, was the actual global piece and the innovative piece, where I can, think outside of perhaps what a law enforcement officer would think about. A person who has been involved in other industries that could probably help me think about things I wouldn't think about, and use strategies that I wouldn't think about to be a better administrator in public safety. So those things, that obviously being responsible within your organization and your community is something that I was already in it, but obviously I identified with that. But I also saw that there was things here that I perhaps could grow with the school. And so being globally and innovative really was a piece that I felt that I could learn and grow from Crummer.
Awesome. Thank you, Jacob. Diane?
Sure. So for me, like I mentioned before, the global component was very important because I always was interested in international marketing. And one of the things that I learned through my experience at Rollins is not only, yes, you're looking also at your global perspective and what your role is, but it's also kind of bring it into your everyday job. We talked about how you're going to make yourself invaluable to that organization or to your company or what you're trying to achieve. And I think it's merging the two of them. It's trying to make yourself better, how to be able to analyze things better, how to be able to interpret them. So I think having that experience from Crummer has been invaluable in no matter what position in the company that you serve.
Great, thank you. So we've been talking kind of in general terms about the program itself, but I'm interested to hear from you guys specifically, what were some of your favorite courses and projects? So maybe we'll start with Jacob on this one.
Yes, I could tell you my first few courses and first few weekends that I spent, I'm not gonna lie, I felt out of place because when we're talking about revenues and building companies and organizations, much of the discussion was private sector stuff, which I had no experience in. And as we would do class projects and things like that, it's like, how do I and a lot of the things they want to go back. They want you to go back to your organization and say, okay, pick an issue or a problem in your organization and apply it to this concept, and how would you fix it? Many times it was bottom line, increasing revenues or being more productive or effective or efficient. And I was like, what is the bottom line? How can I spell out the bottom line for policing? And it's not dollars and cents, and not always, but it was really kind of tricky for me and kind of like a little bit overwhelming. But I realized that at the end of the day, every organization has a goal, and the fact that I was able to take policing and public safety and finding a way how officers can be more effective, how the agency can operate more efficiently, and the bottom line is to reduce crime or to increase community equity. Those are things that I couldn't visualize before that, and so classes like business analytics and strategic leadership really helped me to see the value of really putting business concepts into even a public sector agency like that, and getting an end result where you improve conditions, save money, or obviously reach your goals. So it was a pretty awesome experience for me to really transform that. And I think really anywhere you come from, your background, your experience, whatever it is, it's really a lot of things are applicable, and really make you a better leader and executive.
Diane?
So to me, I've always been interested in marketing, and I loved all my marketing classes and Dr. Marshall working with him, but I truly enjoyed mergers and acquisition. It was something that I had not been exposed to in the past. And I've said, what it's like, if it would have been, 10, 15 years ago, I would have totally, gone into that field, and I still love it. And it was just so interesting because I always like to bring things together. I like to put things together, come up with creative ideas. And I just totally saw the world of mergers and acquisition like such a big opportunity. So I really enjoyed that class. And QBA, even though it was very challenging, it was just very interesting, and I learned a lot from it.
Thank you, Erica?
It's interesting, Diane, you talk about mergers and acquisitions. As an alumni, I just finished auditing that class last week. We had our final presentations. So great perk of being an alumni, going back and auditing. But in terms of the classes, while I was a student, probably the two that for me stick out the most are two opportunities I had to do consulting projects. One was in a finance-based class here with Dr. Meyer, and that was where we worked with a company. It was an organization called Four Roots. It's part of the Four Rivers family here in the Orlando area. And with that, we worked with the CEO, the chairman of the company, and to try to put together some financial pro formas for what he wanted to do with the next step with his nonprofit. So I really had a hands-on opportunity to make really a difference in the community, to say, here's what you're looking to do. Here's what we see your financials are going to be, and opportunities for you to potentially be more successful there. So really good opportunity there. But one of my favorite projects, though, was going abroad. We did an international consulting trip with Dr. Johnson. So we were over in Nottingham in the UK. Went over there for a week, and we did an economic impact study with the Nottingham Ice Center and Arena. And so with that, we worked with the CEO and his C-suite on what data do you have, what impact did you have before, where are we looking to be at today? So we took the week and put together a lot of data and then presented back to the C-suite at the end of the week. So some really touching projects where we got to take the skills from class and use them to really provide that impact back into the community, both locally and internationally at Crummer.
Thank you. I love asking that question because I always get different answers from everybody, just like the three of you, and it really speaks to the broad nature of the program and how there's so many highlights that everybody is sort of drawn to different parts of the program, which is great. I also love, Erica, that you mentioned the auditing, because I did forget to mention that, and that's one of the great perks of being a Crummer student, that you do get to audit classes for life, which is very rare. It's Erica's doing it now, and other students, definitely are taking advantage. Yeah, alums back in the classroom as well. So my next question is that, as you all know, the cornerstone of the Crummer experience is our concierge high-touch approach to education. I'm just kind of wondering how you all have experienced that firsthand. So maybe this time start with Diane.
Sure. So I think for me, it started from the actual first day when I had my first class. Unfortunately, I had a family emergency, and my mom passed away, unfortunately, right before the program started, and I missed my first day because I was out of the country. And I think when I got back, everybody was just so welcoming, and Dr. Crown alluded, like, we're a family, and that's how I was treated. And that's why completely bonded, with the faculty, with the staff, with my cohort, and they were there for me, and while that wasn't the best circumstances, in addition to that, I've had some awesome experiences throughout the program and as well afterwards. I currently serve in the Crummer Alumni Board, and in a fun, atmosphere. I'm very targeted to try to help the alumni succeed in the program. We have fun, we interact, we network. I work with interns, that have been in the program through my organization. So I think all different aspects of it, as far as the high touch, is understanding that everybody's really sincere in the willingness to want to make you succeed. So I think that, from the good times to the bad times and the fun times, all of them in your career, the Crummer family is there for you.
Great, thanks. Erica?
This is one of the reasons why I wanted to come to Crummer, was because of the high touch and the personal aspect of the program, and it didn't fall short in any way. In fact, it exceeded my expectations. And when I think about examples of what that looks like, I'll tell you, when I still walk back into the Crummer building these days, faculty still know who I am. When I audit their classes, I typically audit once a semester. They welcome me back. They're like, oh, how's it going? Long time no see. So there's still that, we knew who you were then, we know who you are now. There's still that piece that comes together. But one of the examples that I love to give to everyone today is that I was talking with one of my faculty members once about potentially doing the EDBA program. I said, I'd really like to explore this. Is this the right thing for me? Several of my classmates have gone on and are in the program now, and some are continuing to enroll. So clearly we've had a great connection to the program. And just the fact that she took the minute and she said, based on what you've told me about what you want, I don't know if it's the right fit for you right now. And what that spoke to me was that you're listening to me and you care about me. You know where I'm at in my career and what my future goals are. And you're really trying to help me get there. You're not just trying to sell me on something. You really care about me and my personal growth and where I'm looking to go professionally and personally with my life. And so having that touch point for me was really important. But not only that, but that faculty member would follow up with me months later just to say, hey, how's it going? I wanted to see where you ended up, what some of your decisions were. So always having that connection with them. Another good example just to throw out there is in talking with some faculty members, I'd say, hey, what we've been talking about has been very helpful to me. And have you talked to, for example, my classmate, Matt? And it's, oh, I've actually already talked to Matt about this. We had the conversation last week. So to know that it's not just myself, but in talking to my classmates, they all have these interactions. And of course, as I mentioned, coming back to audit, and the faculty are like, oh, it's great to hear from you. I'd love to have you in class. It really shows that really personal touch with the Crummer program.
I agree with that. Definitely for me as well. Since day one, the faculty and either other alums that are coming in and out of while you're at school, while you're in class, are really, genuinely interested and concerned and want to add value to your personal growth and professional growth. Throughout the course, throughout my executive MBA course, professors like Dr. Yoho, who would, without me asking, would say, hey, Jake, I know this guy who's worked for the law enforcement agency over here, and I think I want to connect you guys because I think you guys are really, whatever, professionally, work with each other or bounce ideas off each other, and things like that out of the blue, that they would just, present to you, knowing that's something that could add value to you. So that was throughout my experience there as a student, and even afterwards. And now that I find myself in a transition in my career professionally, they've been there for me, checking up on me as well. They've served as points of references for possible employers, constantly check on me. People like I said, Yoho and Dr. Lockery, who, every once in a while they check up and say, hey, how's it going? How can I help you? Is there someone I can connect you with? And really just having that interest in how you grow professionally, and invite you back to the school for whatever it is that they think that you can bring back and be part of. Ensuring that you participate in alumni activities if it's something that can really serve you. And it's just an awesome experience. And I've built long time not only professional contacts but friendships, and I can see that for the rest of my life that I'm always going to have that kind of relationship with some of the people here at Crummer.
Great, thank you. So as you all know, one of the biggest concerns for executive students who are looking for is, can I make it work with my life, everything else I have going on? So I'm interested to hear from you guys in terms of, how did you find in the program, how did you find it was balancing your studies with your career and also your personal obligations?
So I think one of the biggest pieces for me when coming into the program is it was preparation, first off, of knowing, okay, this is a step you're going to take. It's going to take a lot of time. And so I know at the time I had started to look into programs, I had several commitments outside of the typical, here's your work and here's your home life. And so understanding that preparation ahead of time to make sure that I was prepared was helpful. But one of the things that someone had told me when I first started the Crummer program was, you will find your capacity is able to expand somehow, that you just can take on more. You become like a superhuman. And that's the best way to describe it. And the way I describe it that way is because once the program was over, I felt like I had all this free time on my hands, because it was this time that I had created out of nowhere. One of the things when we think about this that really comes down to that balance, but also how do things fit into your life? I found naturally that the things that were important and the people that I had to connect with, they really became my priorities. And so I just learned to prioritize differently in my life so that I could fit in the personal, the work, and the family. But the other piece, and I believe Dean Crown mentioned this earlier, was these folks and these programs, Crummer becomes your family. So the support system that you get from your group, from your cohort, the faculty, the staff, it does become a second family. So you may not be doing all of the other things you're used to, but you're still getting that support from your cohort. I will share with you all that my cohort, so I graduated in 2018. We still meet monthly. Right now it's on Zoom, but we still are all getting together. Beforehand, it was once a month in person. We're still very connected because we are so family. I know Jake will probably talk about how his cohort is connected. I know one of his classmates always telling me, oh, my cohort was the greatest. We still chat. So I'm sure he'll talk about that, but it's just the fact that you get this other family and somehow your superhuman strength comes out. But it is a challenge, but it does all work out, and having the support is something that definitely helps along the way.
Great. We're going to use that in our marketing material, superheroes. Jacob.
Yeah, so definitely at the time I was in my role as major, and a lot of times worked in, there wasn't my job was not 8 to 5. Sometimes stuff would happen at work that in the middle of class, and I'd have to step out. And but the same with when you during the week and between weekends where you have assignments and you have projects due and things like that you have to be very intentional about setting time aside for everything that's important in your life, which work, school, and family. And I found that and I had been away from school for almost 8 years. And so I had to create kind of a system of accountability with each one of those 3 factors with my family and give them time. And especially with my cohort, where we would be accountable, setting due dates and working together and making sure that, oh, this is your area of responsibility for this project. When are you going to have this done by? And just be accountable to each other, check up on each other. We would meet. I think we would meet probably once a week during school, and also we, like Erica, we meet every once in a while. Not we haven't met it once a month like we do, but we're in constant contact with each other probably once a week, whether it's one thing or another, checking up on each other and see how we're doing. But it's really, yes, setting a system of accountability of what's important priority, and understanding that you have to break it up and give each thing its time, and especially school. And some courses may be easier than others, depending on your background and what are your strengths and weaknesses are. But really, if you struggle with procrastination or things in your life that cause interruptions, find someone that can help you be accountable. Find a system that can help you stay on track, so that you not only are successful, but you also give your part, because it's going to be a teamwork environment as you go from one course to the other. And there, people are going to be relying on you as you rely on them. So.
Thank you, Diane.
Yes, with me, my job takes me all over the state of Florida and sometimes internationally. So I was lucky that that I had a really strong, support in my house, and my husband who really supported me. But then as well, making sure that you work with your employer to outline what are you gonna be going through, what are the expectations. When I went to through the program, it was every Saturday except one per month would be virtual, which is a little bit different than now. And sometimes I would be, in Miami and I'm taking a class and I'm working with a project. But I think it's also important to take time for yourself to be able to regenerate. Like, I enjoy running. So that's one of the things that I really try to maintain in my schedule when I was going through the program, because that would help me release stress, think about the things that I needed to do. Another thing is early on with my cohort, we identify like which were our strengths. And we assign different roles. Like, somebody would always develop the agenda. I always been really good with presentations and PowerPoint, so they knew that people could rely on me upon that. And even though sometimes we changed, our roles so we can stretch ourselves and try different things, it was also relying on our strengths of each of the persons and the diversity in the group to make sure that we were able to accomplish what we needed to.
Thank you. So my final question for you, I know that I've heard this word come up at least once, if not more than that, this morning, and that is transformation, the idea of a transformative experience. And that really is key to the Crummer experience, is that you do leave different than when you came in. And so I'm just wondering if each of you could take a moment just to speak to that. So maybe we'll start with Jacob.
Definitely, stepping into this program and the things that I wanted to get out of it, I could say 100% that I did. And not only that, but it exceeded my expectations. All the experience from, the global immersion program, going to Mexico and interacting and learning with other international students, and then coming here, and the domestic residency, and just being immersed in the community and organizations and companies that are vital to the Central Florida area, and the relationship that Crummer has with all these organizations has really changed my perspective of thinking globally. When I, make decisions, a lot of times I would have more of a narrow view of fixing a problem, or tackling this, looking for solutions, and using things like data and analytics to really justify a decision or move in a different direction, are things that I really lacked as far as education and professional development, and things that I've gained through the Crummer experience. And it's really completely has changed my approach, and I think has made me a better professional, especially at the executive and administrative level. And I think it's really helping me now that I'm transitioning professionally to find areas that I could think I can take my education and my experience and couple them together and use them to the benefit and to wherever it is that God has for me in the future. So.
Great, thank you, Diane.
I think for me, it has been the opportunity to look at things in a more holistic way, and being able to not only know a little bit more about it, but understand really more the concept of things. One of the things that we learn is to just not only read and analyze data, but it's also interpret them, understanding what is the impact to your business or what your goals and what you're trying to do. So I think, not only from the number side, but also, we talk a lot about sustainability. We talk about ethics, and how all those different things really affect, impact, and influence the business environment. So I think just looking at things in a more holistic, being able to interpret and apply those concepts, I think that has been really beneficial, influential in my career, and I'm sure beyond to my future aspirations.
Thank you, and Erica.
One of the first weeks of my program, we were working with student services, and one of the director of student services at the time came in and something had happened, and she said, "That is not the Crummer way. This is the Crummer way." And what she meant by that was Crummer way of always being quality, top notch. And when we think about that mission statement, Craig, that you brought up earlier of just what is global, what is responsible, what is innovative. It's when we talk about transformation, for me, it's those things. It's what Crummer is. It's those pieces in the mission statement that when I approach a problem, when I approach a strategic decision, it's thinking about those three things of how do we incorporate those pieces into the decision? Because how is this going to affect this organization? How does it affect my team? What does this look like overall? Maybe it's nationally, locally, or even globally. So it's really changed the way in which I make decisions and I interact with others. But also when we think about that Crummer way, as we talked about, and many of you who are around know Carlene, that she made that statement. Carlene really embodied Crummer, as all of the faculty and all of the staff do. And with that, having this sense of professionalism and pride in making the right business decisions and having the right ethical thought process through everything is really taken what I would think of where I was to where I am now in terms of transformation. Of this is something of these processes of ethics and thinking about things globally, again, responsible. And then you've got that innovation all the time in my decision making. So it's really changed me in that positive way. And again, so proud to be part of the Crummer team.
Well, thank you to all of you. This is always our favorite part of these events, is hearing from you guys, because you're able to talk about the Crummer experience in a way that we just can't. You've all lived it all, so we're appreciative of that. And also, you'll notice that we put some email addresses for these folks up on the screen here, so they are also willing and excited to hear from you as well if you have any questions for them. So please do feel free to reach out to them as well. Thank you again, guys, and you're of course welcome to stay to listen to Dr. Yoho. And but if not, we will talk again soon. Thank you very much.